So Mackie hit me up about their new SRM V-Class speakers, and in the email, they had their chests out. Now listen to this. I'm reaching out because Mackie is making a big push with our SRM V-Class loudspeakers, and as a DJ reviewer, we thought you should experience firsthand what it means when we say studio sound takes the stage. SRM V-Class loudspeakers have best-in-class performance, clarity, and technology, featuring a 2,000-watt Class D amplifier, custom transducers, a custom Sim-X horn, advanced impulse DSP, transparent system protection, and intelligent bass management. Look, that's a lot of mumbo jumbo. We're gonna test this out at a real wedding right now, and we're gonna figure out if it really is best in class, if they really are killing the game, okay? We're gonna find out in a real life situation. Let's do it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, touch your shoe. 1, 2, touch your shoe. Okay. So I do like the look of it a lot. You got the big logo in the middle, the 2 green lights on either side, right? You got the big SRM logo, V-Class right here. You know, it looks pretty badass. The case itself, like the cabinet itself, is made out of some kind of composite, I'm assuming, and it's like a little plasticky, it's a little cheap feeling, but like, it's not bad. And full transparency, so we're running these over top a pair of DRM 18 subs. These things are pretty loud, I'm not gonna lie, right? So we have dual 18-inch subs, we're running them up there. And in the back here, we ran them at unity, so everything's nice and even Stevens, right? Basically took the volume and put it to the U. You don't want to go too much over that. And we use the built-in DSP. So basically on this speaker, on the SRM, you can select what sub you're running them with, and then it customizes a crossover. So it sounds nice and good, which is really, really cool. And then we're running everything through the QSC Touch Mix. So essentially, we're running this shit right, we have it set up right, we're giving these speakers the best possible way to succeed today, okay? And then also the venue, we're in a pretty big barn, the ceilings are probably, I don't know, 25 or so feet, 20 feet, and then I think we're looking at, what, 120 people, 130 people in the space, so it's a good amount of people. We're gonna see what happens. And also, we didn't ring out the mics at all with the Touch Mix, okay? This is just straight raw, no condom, we're running this shit, and there's no feedback. So we're right by the sweetheart table, it's a little tight. Usually you'd have to worry about feedback with the sub and everything else. I'm not having a problem at all, even if they went rogue. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely a built-in something, you know? Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, by the way, this isn't my wedding. I came by with my buddy Seth. Say hi to the camera, say hi to the YouTubes.
YouTubes?
Check out his YouTube channel. It's below in the description and whatnot. But I kind of wanted to do this at someone else's wedding so I can concentrate on how these bad boys sound, okay? I don't have to worry about a wedding today. It's not my wedding, not my dance floor. I'm just gonna be listening to these bad boys. Better not let me down. This has nothing to do with the speakers, but Seth is really gonna wear a red suit tonight. He's got a whole red suit with a white shirt. No way he's actually gonna wear that. He really fucking wore it.
Damn right I did.
A red suit? You look like a fucking candy cane.
Damn right I did.
Oh my goodness. With the black Vans? Blue. Seth got on those, it's a new day, but it all feels on. So the wedding happened.
Bing, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam.
So that was quite the wedding. Shouts to Seth, he killed it. But let's talk about this speaker, okay? Let's review this speaker. I just spent 4 hours listening to the speaker and judging it in every aspect of a wedding, and I've reached my conclusions. So we're gonna break this down by category, and every category I'm gonna give it a score from 1 to 10. And keep in mind, these scores are based on the price of the speaker, okay? It's basically like a mid-range speaker as far as price. At $7.99 a piece, you know, it's not the cheapest 15-inch speaker you can get, but it's definitely not the most expensive either. It's right in the middle, solid pro gear, okay? This speaker is comparable with the JBL 715 Eon. It's comparable with the DRX Yamaha. It's comparable with the RCF 915, and so on, okay? So that's kind of where I'm placing it and where my head's at when I'm giving it these scores. And by the way, I'm listing all the categories below as chapters, so if you want to skip to one, feel free. So we're gonna start with sound quality and clarity, something that they really, really say this thing does best. For that, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And this is why. So the quality's there. It does have a lot of clarity. It is a good sounding speaker, and it's consistent as well, right? At the higher volumes, it kind of sounds the same, right? It takes a lot for it to kind of distort and, you know, start to kind of lose quality, right? You really got to crank this bad boy to lose the quality. So I was impressed with that. With that being said, in my humble opinion, it's missing mid-range, right? So the consistency I was talking about throughout the volumes, it's the same. At low volumes, it's missing mid-range, and at high volumes, it's missing mid-range. You know, it's not crazy, it's not noticeable to a non-speaker nerd, but it's there, okay? And that one little thing, you could probably tweak it. There's a lot of little settings on the back. You could tweak it with an external mixer, but we ran everything flat out of the box, and out of the box, it's missing that mid-range, in my opinion. Now let's talk overall volume and max SPL. For this, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. They're very loud speakers. They're very, very loud. I will say, it boasts a 136 max SPL, okay? The highest in its class by a long shot. There's no information online how they tested for this, okay? You could assume they use pink noise, which essentially they, put a dB meter, a meter away from the speaker. They run pink noise through it, and they go as loud as they possibly can, and then they get that meter. That's how they usually test it, but there's no specifics on that because it kind of blows my mind that it's 136. I'll give you an example. The tops I use are the RCF 945s, okay? They're $2,000 a piece, and they're the loudest things I've heard to date. They are so loud. Your ears will essentially blow out before the speaker does, okay? All day. And they are 135 max SPL. How are these $800 Mackies 136, 1 decibel over a $2,000 a piece set of 945s? It just doesn't make sense to me. I think they're, fudging numbers here a little bit, but you tell me. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a DJ. Now, as far as bass response, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It does have a solid punch, especially for a speaker in this category. You can hear the low end. In small to mid-sized rooms, I believe you can use these tops without subs and get away with it and still have the punches in the song and whatnot. But with that being said, that's another thing that's best in class, and I just can't wrap my mind around it. It says, according to Mackie, that this goes down to 40 hertz, okay? So the frequency response is 40 to the 20,000 hertz. And not to keep comparing it to other speakers, but most other high-end speakers go down to 45. They don't go down to 40, and I didn't hear a crazy difference where it's like, wow, this gets so much lower than, a $2,000 top I've heard before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they measured the 40. Again, what do I know? But it kind of seems like they're fudging numbers here, all right? I mean, on paper, this speaker looks crazy, but when you listen to a person, it's not blowing you out of the water like, wow, why would I ever buy expensive tops again? I could just get these for $800. Like, that's just not the case. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Now, build quality and durability, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. It has a plastic, polycarbonate, whatever they call it, outside, like a lot of speakers do. But it doesn't have like the durable kind of like paint where it's like, almost like grippy, like grip tape. It's just plain plastic. And it's just, I don't know, it felt kind of cheap to me. I don't know if it's going to really last long, like the body, free from cracks and stuff like that in the long term. But, I don't know. I only used them at the 1 gig. So, who knows? But my personal opinion, feeling it, touching it, 6 out of 10. Now, portability, I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Got great handles on it. It weighs 48 pounds. I think there's only maybe 2-3 speakers in that category that are lighter than that. So for a 15-inch top, you can't beat 48 pounds. I mean, it might sound a lot if you don't work out, but pretty easy to toss up on a pole, in my opinion. Now, for features, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 as well. I think they have a lot of really, really cool features. I mean, you got the basic stuff. You got the color screen. You could dial in, your EQs. You could set it to different modes, so it's very versatile. So you could basically have it as a monitor in a monitor mode. You have a live situation, so if you're using it for like a band, you have a standalone mode that pushes more low frequencies out, if you're using them without a sub, things like that. It definitely has versatility there. The lights up front are really cool. You could switch them from green to white, or you can even switch them as a sound output light, so it won't shine unless there's sound going through it. So the speaker's like across the way. You could see if the sound's coming out of that speaker without putting your ear to it, walking across the whole room. Like, little features like that are really, really cool. And then the onboard DSP that works with the DRM sub and whatnot is also clutch. It has Bluetooth. It's definitely not lacking on features, that's for sure. So 10 out of 10 there. Ease of use, I'm going to give it 10 out of 10 as well. The screen is very intuitive. I didn't have to read a manual or watch a video. I figured it out immediately. It's super easy, nice and laid out, works well. I liked it a lot. That's it, 10 out of 10. And the last category is going to be value for the money. So is this speaker a good value for $799, $800 USD? I'm going to give that a 7 out of 10. So let me explain. If I were to see the specs of this speaker, okay, without hearing them, I would say, wow, $800, this is a steal. 136 dB max SPL, it goes down to 40 hertz. It's only 48 pounds, 2,000 watts max output. I mean, you can't beat that for $800. But after hearing them, I gotta say, I don't think the specs match what you actually get out of the speaker. It's definitely a great speaker in that range. It competes with all the other speakers in that price range for sure, but it doesn't match up with the specs. And then I also think that in that price range, you have options that, in my opinion, sound better and are a little more powerful, believe it or not, even though on paper it doesn't say they are. Now, with that being said, I believe if you're really good at tuning a speaker, if you run everything through an external mixer and you nerd out with the EQs and you know how to really adjust your mic right and adjust like the overall output right, you could turn the speaker into a great deal, like a really great deal. It just needs tuning. Out of the box, if you're not familiar with all that tuning stuff and how to do this, how to do that, it's not there. But I think you can get there with the right tuning for sure. So if you are a speaker nerd and you like Mackie a lot and you know you can tune this bad boy to the gods, then by all means, this speaker's definitely for you. I think you can get a lot out of it, and it's a great bang for your buck. By the way, Mackie did send me these speakers for free, but I don't get paid for reviews. Other than I'll keep the product, I don't get paid. And the reason for that is so I can tell you exactly what I think. So Mackie might be watching this right now going, shit, we shouldn't have sent him anything. Who did this? But it is what it is. I mean, I heard what I heard, people. I don't know what to tell you.